to make truth more precious than anything else. Truth has got to be more precious than your church fellowship, more precious than your job or your spouse, more precious actually than life itself. Only then will you be willing to sacrifice all to follow the Lamb.
Whilst you were saying that, David, it reminds me of Matthew 10, where Yahushua said, "He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me."
Yes, exactly. This is the test facing the final generation. Do you love your Saviour more than your house or your social standing? Do you love him more than your spouse or even your children? All who obey the command to leave Babylon, all who follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth, will answer yes to these questions.
And I get that, but you know, it's not really comfortable to stand alone, Dave.
No, it's really not, no.
We all like being surrounded by a group of like-minded believers. It's more comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. It's psychologically reassuring to know other people believe the same way you do. In fact, it's such a deep psychological need that most people will say something is true even when they know it's not, just because they don't want to be different.
Seriously? They'll really admit to something they know is not true just because they don't want to be different?
Yep. Have you heard of Solomon Ash?
Now, wasn't he the American pro tennis player?
No. You're thinking of Arthur Ashe.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Solomon Ash was a psychologist. Easy mistake to make, there we go.
Yeah.
He conducted a series of experiments to discover the extent to which social pressure from a majority group can influence a person to conform.
Okay, how did he do it?
Well, good point. He first put the person he was testing into a larger control group and asked a series of questions. At first, everyone answered correctly. After a while, however, the group, who had been coached by Ash on how to answer, began answering some of the questions incorrectly. The person being tested didn't know that the others had been told to answer incorrectly. Nearly 75% of the individuals tested this way went along with the majority group at least one time. They knew the correct answer. It was a simple vision test. They could see with their own eyes. But they answered incorrectly when confronted with the uncomfortable position of being the only one insisting on that answer.
Oh, wow. It really says something about our dislike of standing alone, doesn't it?
Yes. Ash found that if even one other person answered differently from the main group, even if his answer was also not correct, the test subject would still give the right answer. But if everyone else was united on one specific answer, the test subject would, 3 times out of 4, succumb and go along with the majority, even when they knew the majority was wrong. Ash said, the tendency to conformity in our society is so strong that reasonably intelligent and well-meaning young people are willing to call white black. This is a matter of concern. It raises questions about our ways of education and the values that guide our conduct, unquote. And that's true for everybody. No one likes being the only one standing alone. It makes you feel insecure. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, you're right about that, Dave. And here at WLC, because we're a worldwide ministry, we're constantly getting emails from all over the world asking, is there a group near me that believes this way? Now, when you've spent your whole life worshipping with others, you can feel really, cast adrift at the thought of worshipping alone, yeah? And it simply doesn't feel right. In fact, I've known a few people who will still go to church even on a different day just for the sake of the fellowship.
Yeah. You see, people don't want to worship alone. It feels, if you like, somehow wrong. And while it's normal to feel that way, it's not biblical.
Really?
Well, there are 80 times that the word church is used in the Bible and 35 uses of the word churches. All 115 occurrences are found solely in the New Testament. And yet, church is an incorrect translation of the original word.
Really? So what's the original word?
Well, let's consider what the word church means first. The dictionary defines a church as an edifice consecrated for public worship. It's the collective body of Christians composed of three great branches, the Roman Catholic, Protestant, and Orthodox Eastern. It's a particular body of Christians united under one creed and using the same ritual and ceremonies. A church is any group of worshippers, any organised body of Christians occupying the same edifice for religious worship.
Oh, that sounds about right, but what you're saying is a mistranslation of the original word, yeah?
Yes, in fact, it's the exact opposite of the original word, which is ecclesia. Ecclesia means a calling out, or in other words, the called out ones. Now, can you see how that really differs from the meaning of church?
Yeah, totally, absolutely. The word church emphasises a group, that's what you're saying, whilst if you're called out, you're hardly in a group, are you?
No. You think about it. All of heaven's greatest faith warriors were called out ones. You've got Elijah by the brook Cherith. You've got Moses, who wasn't ready to do heaven's bidding as a prince at 40 years of age. It wasn't until he'd spent 40 years in the wilderness with Yah that he was ready to lead the children of Israel out of Egypt. You've got the Saviour himself, surrounded by multitudes during his public ministry, yes. But the way he got the spiritual strength and the stamina was by spending time alone with his Father. Now, Mark chapter 1 describes a common practice of Yahushua. It states, in the morning, rising up a great while before day, he went out and departed into a solitary place and there prayed. All of heaven's greatest faith warriors were called out ones. It takes strength and courage to be willing to stand alone, and the time to develop that strength and courage, that reliance upon Yah, is now.
Very good. And very true as well.